Speaking of secretive and no depth charts, is there much, if any, video out there of Rosen? And if so, what have you seen, and how do you prepare for a true freshman quarterback making his first start?
Only the video that obviously from his high school, career. I'm sure like them, they look at our VirginiaSportsTV.com as we will look at their videos as well. But nothing substantive about what he is or what he does. And we know it's a system that they run. We know he's very talented, and we know he's surrounded by several players that can make him efficient. So that's the challenge for us. When we start getting the game and start playing against him, is to find out actually what his strengths are and try to find his deficiencies as well.
Can you remember the scenario when Matt went into the game, and what you may have told him? How did he react to that? And sort of a two-parter. Can you just kind of update us on his progress through the training camp?
That was I told you guys the story before. That was the game when I grabbed him by his arm and said, "Are you ready for this?" And he grabbed me back because I've been ready for this my whole life. It's kind of that, that his moxie, whatever you want to call it, that really impressed me at that moment. And obviously, you go back, you look at the game. We had three. They had 3 defensive touchdowns, and we had a costly turnover there that allowed them to go ahead. But that was a game that Matt kind of showed that he had a little bit of stuff in him, and that he could eventually be a good player here. And now it's his chance. His chance to go out to their place and hopefully play a game that will allow us to be victorious.
Mike, Matt doesn't have like all the physical tools that blue chip quarterbacks have, big arm and all that stuff. What is it about him that engenders so much confidence and optimism?
Wow, Matt's behind you right there. You just made that statement there. So I'm a big Matt Johns fan, and I've been in his house. I've seen him play on Friday nights. I believe in Matt Johns, and one of the things, as I said before, his ability to be a leader, out in front leader, not only with the offensive guys, but defensive tackles, the linebackers. I mean, our guys genuinely like him, and they like his leadership abilities and skills. So, when you have a guy that believes in himself, again, I told you about the UCLA story, that he's been waiting for this moment. Matt's been waiting for this moment, and this moment will be realized for him here in a few days.
Is it safe to say we'll see 3 running backs or 4 running backs then on Saturday?
You may see whatever it takes as far as the running backs are concerned. Really pleased with Smoke Mizell. He's done a tremendous job here of lately in terms of learning how to be a running back, and I really look forward to him having a kind of a breakout season. Albert Reid has done a nice job as well. Albert, that transferred in, came in, became a great teammate. There's some roles that he'll have even in the return game, the kicking game. Daniel Ham will have an opportunity to play as well. Jordan Ellis, the running back from Georgia, short yardage guy or a guy that can, be back there and run the ball. So we're going to try to do what's best for the team, but also know that there are some very capable running backs that we have, and then all of them have performed, during August camp well.
Mike, beyond the quarterback, they've got, I think, one of the leading rushers in the Pac-12 coming back. They've got an offensive line with a lot of returners. What are some of the things you need to prepare for just from them offensively?
Yeah, you're right. Perkins is their running back. He's a phenomenal player. They have an offensive line. Early on they had guys that were injured, but it appears that they're back now. That's a strong part of their football team. Have an offensive line that's experienced, and with guys that have played a lot of games, sort of like ours, guys that have played in a lot of football games. They have a receiving core that I'm quite sure with their quarterback, they're going to try to get the ball out quickly, get the ball out to their receivers, make us defend space. Being when you have a young guy and you want to make sure you can distribute the ball to those playmakers you just talked about, the running back and the receivers with an experienced offensive line. So that's what I would expect.
Mike, without going too much into your game plan, would it be safe to assume that you're going to try to put a lot of pressure on a freshman quarterback?
It would be safe to assume that.
When you guys faced these guys last year, their offensive line situation was kind of all over the place. You guys took advantage of it, had 5 sacks. And then toward the second half of last year, they got a lot better. They made some personnel changes. What do you expect from their offensive line as opposed to what you saw last year?
You know, it's a veteran group. And again, I'm not trying to be too funny on the way I just answered that question, but at the same time, you want to protect your quarterback, a freshman quarterback. And I'm quite sure that they'll do some things, if they haven't already been doing it, that are going to give him the maximum amount of opportunities to get rid of the ball, to protect the football. And, we always see those opportunities. You try to exploit those opportunities, but it remains to be seen. And we didn't give up any sacks against them last year. And, so that was one of the things offensively for us that we were in the plus category for. So we'll have to continue to keep doing that and then try to find ways, again, that we can attack, protections or whatever it might be.
With the quarterbacks not being live, it's hard to really simulate a game situation in practice. Do you have a sense of where the pass rush is right now, or is that something you won't really know till you get out there Saturday?
You try to simulate as much as you can with tackling dummies, where the ball is, stripping the ball out, all those things like that. And what's very significant this year is now the spearing rule, where if you use the top of the crown of your head, you could get ejected from a game, or any contact between the neck and above, with any part of your body. So, you're constantly, coaching and teaching that, but you don't want to do it against your own players, but it'll be something if you watch not only college football as a whole, making sure that how offensive runners or players are being tackled, whether you're using your head or whether you're making contact above the neck area. So we try to do drills that would allow us to simulate tackling the quarterback, but game time is the real activity that you'll have to make sure that all the drills you taught, all the things, the rules you've discussed, the players understand and then play accordingly.
Mike, you guys moved the ball on them pretty well last year. Can you just talk about their defense and what you've seen studying the second half of last season?
They're solid up front. Their front seven is they're big, they're athletic. The linebackers are very, very productive. They've done a nice job of saying, look, we're going to stop the run, and that's going to be something that we're going to have to be able to exploit, not only with the play action pass running game, passing game, all those things, but they're athletic, and they've put their players in position. Coach Moore, I know, is a defensive guy. I know he's the head coach, but he's a guy that's coached defenses for a while, and you can tell because they are very well coached.
Mike, on media day, a lot of guys talked about how all summer long they talked about finishing games, because you had a couple games last year that you let get away in the fourth quarter. What have the coaches done to kind of reinforce that, and kind of how is that resolve? Where does that stand, do you think, with these guys?
Even with coaches, with drills, with things that we keep talking about, finishing, crossing the line of scrimmage, the last rep, running extra yards. Once you get to the first down marker, finishing and going beyond. And so it's kind of been a mantra, for us as we went through spring practice and this early part of camp about being good enough and being better than your previous self, reflecting the type of habits that affect the mission. And the habit is over and over and over doing the things that can give you an opportunity to win. And the habit is winning. And so when you create those habits, then you have opportunities for guys to start realizing that things can be changed or make a difference. Same action, same outcome. We want different actions for different outcomes this year, and a lot of our guys have embraced that.
Obviously, you didn't beat UCLA last year, but you won 4 of your next 5 games. looking back on that game, do you feel there were a lot of positives to come out of it, and one way or another, looking for the same kind of result this year?
Well, obviously the end goal is to win the game. There's you get pats on the back for playing well, but we want to win football games. And we talked about before the 4 games that you were not on the winning ledger for whatever reason. That's been also a focal point of ours. It just tied into what Hank just said about finishing games, in the situations that we were in, and could chart our own destiny, so to speak. So, with UCLA again being the first game of the year for us, we know what happened last year. That's last year now. Now we're focusing on this year's football team, 2015, with the players that we have, and with a new mindset, a new attitude. And we're excited about taking a trip out to California. Had no stranger to going out west and having an opportunity to play a really good football team, because they ended up, I believe, in a bowl game. They ended up playing well.